All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that these are the core six things that you need to not only build a successful agency, but to do it and still have a life and still keep your head and not drive yourself crazy. So if you've already built a successful agency, know that this is for you today as well. So my last agency that I built and since exited, thank God I was able to sell. It drove me batshit crazy. I hated the business that I had built. And so even if you're successful today, I'm going to help you guys go through some exercises. Today is for you. It's going to help you really make the most of your agency, finally get some leverage, and ultimately live a much more simple life that has way less stress on you day to day. Because I see way too many people building agencies ass backwards, in my opinion. And I myself have been there and have done that. And I'm really talking to you guys from my lessons after building and buying and acquiring and exiting, being involved with multiple agencies, and me being in a position now helping agencies that I have a very unique perspective. I've been there, I've done that multiple times. I still train and help lots of agencies. We work with hundreds of agencies, for example, at Invisible PPC doing their fulfillment. And so I have a very unique perspective. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because I really do want to help you. And the real reason that I want to help you is I know that if I help you and you accredit that success to me, that you will be a long time customer of mine. And when I make an offer, which is not today, today is completely free for you guys joining me live. When I do make an offer in the future, because of the value that I've given you guys for free, that you'll jump and you'll pay me for something. Like, there is no ulterior motive for this besides just that. Everybody clear? Can I get a 9 in the chat if we're clear? And you guys are going to have to be interactive. That's the only way that this will work. I need live participants to work through these exercises with me. So be prepared to get booted off if you don't interact. And yes, I'm 100% serious. So thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, James. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Dawn. All right. James. All right. Wilson. All right, cool. Everybody else, I am serious. If you don't interact, I will boot you off. All right. So I believe, looking back on my agency and multiple agencies I've been involved with, lots of agencies that I've coached with, all the customers that we work with on a one-to-one relationship at Invisible PPC, that there are like really 6 things that I feel like I have quite literally shit the bed with, and that I feel like most people are making the same mistake with. And you'd think after building, exiting, buying, training all these different agencies and being involved in such a crazy capacity that I myself would have learned this by now. And to be honest, a bunch of these guys I haven't learned so well. And these are hard truths even for me. These are hard pills to swallow. So if you feel like in any time during this training today that I just like hit you right between the eyeballs and you're like, damn, that hurts, like that's me, and I'm talking, you feel like directly to you and nobody else on this webinar, I want you to tell me in the chat, okay? Because that means I got my messaging right and I'm helping you work through it. All right, so I'm gonna walk you guys through high level the 6 things. And I'm gonna try to keep it as vague as possible so that you guys can see all 6, but you also don't make assumptions on the 6, because you guys know what they say about assumptions, right? Makes an ass out of you and me. Come on, I gotta get the dad jokes in, all right? So first things first is, I know it's cliche, but guys, we gotta pick a niche. We have to pick a niche. The fact of the matter is if you're jumping from niche to niche, your team is quite literally cussing you out every single time you bring on a new onboard, right? Because their expectations are different, the keywords are different, right? The output is 10 or 20% different, or 30 or 40% different. And if you're doing that multiple times, think about the stress and the variation that you're putting on your team, right? It's why factories have preset options and you can only use those options. They don't customize everything a million times because they know that their error rate would go through the roof if they didn't. Right? Take it from me, I've screwed the pooch on this one quite a few times, all right? So we're gonna walk through picking a niche, okay? And I'm gonna talk to you guys about what's important to me and why after picking a niche multiple times. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about what I call the filter. At the end of the day, as an agency owner, I don't care if you're uber successful, I don't care if you're doing 10 grand a month or you just got started today, we are all spending way too much time talking with prospects that don't matter. If you've picked a niche, you're well on your way to only talking to the prospects that matter. But you're still probably talking to 70% of the market when you should only be talking to 20 or 30% of the market. So I want to help you guys build a quick filter in that you guys can use to right out of the gate filter somebody out and know if they're a prospect, yes or no. And the goal here is if you're not talking with a prospect that can buy your service and be the damn good customer for you, that you cut bait. And what I mean by cut bait is you're like, yeah, thank you. It was so great to meet you. Have a great day. See you. Right? And you end the conversation that quickly. Okay. So we got to build in that filter. Next up is I want to talk to you guys about packaging and my takeaways of how I build packages these days. And my packages and my service delivery, what I offer, what I include, what I don't is very different than it was when I first got started in this industry in, let's call it 2006 or 2007. Okay, so I want to walk you guys through my takeaways in terms of packaging. And if you're doing your packaging right, your customer success rate should go through the roof. Your customer experience should go through the roof. And your retention with your customers should be very long term. So if it's not any of those things, chances are you probably have a packaging issue. And it could be like a chocolate vegetables issue. And what I mean by that is you got to sell the chocolate, you got to sell what customers want, but you also got to feed them the vegetables, right? Or they're going to be 400 pounds and out of shape, and you're not going to have a very good long-term relationship with them. Okay, so next up, number 4, now that we've went through the niche, the filter, the packaging, is we got to work through what I call the perfect case study. And this perfect case study is the thing that does all the heavy lifting. After you've picked your niche, you've pushed through people through a filter, you know the 30% of the market that you should be talking to, you show them this case study, and this leads to lay down sales. This is like if you had to perfectly engineer, right, a sales deck to just put it in front of somebody, a one-pager, and it would close 90% of the room, this is it. This is that perfect case study, and it has that ability, but most of you guys don't think about your case studies like that. If you have a case study right now, it's probably really freaking boring. If you have customer testimonials right now, frankly, they probably suck. And mine have sucked too, right? It's been like, Joe's a really good guy. He knows a lot about SEO. And if you need help, you should talk to Joe. Like, that sucks. Like, that doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to teach you guys how to engineer your case studies to be a huge sales tool for you. And this is going to lead to lay down sales. This is going to lead to you being able to step out of the sales position as well a whole lot sooner and being able to pull in other people to run your sales process. So if you've had a problem handing off sales to salespeople or assistants or virtual assistants, you probably have not picked a niche, you haven't set up your filter, your packaging probably sucks, and you don't have a perfect case study. Step number 5 then is we're going to talk about lead flow. There's lots of ways to get leads. I'm going to talk to you guys about what's worked well for me, what's working in the future, what my concentration is on, and kind of my takeaway as I've built, again, and been involved in lots of different industries and lots of different agencies, where my head is at today in terms of lead flow. And then finally, number 6, I'm going to walk you guys through the conversion mechanism. So once we picked a niche, we've been able to filter people out. We know who's the right audience and who's not. We've got our packaging set up. We've got the perfect case study, right? We got the lead flow set up. How do we finally convert them from not knowing us from Adam to a paid customer without some really long and lengthy sales process? Guys, I convert 7 out of 10 people on my one call close. Okay? And I've designed it that way. So I'm going to talk to you guys and walk you guys through how you guys can replicate and how you guys can do the same.